The new Amity Affliction album has officially dropped, and I don't really have high hopes for this thing. I've listened to the 3 singles already, and I'm going to save my opinions for them for later, obviously, but I am trying my best to have an open mind, and I've talked about it before on what I think of the post-Arn Amity era. It's, from what I've been hearing so far, up until the release of this album, it's been proving my original predictions correct. But let's just focus on the music. We're gonna get into this thing and try and have an open and optimistic mind. The first track is Vida Nueva, which means new life. Fair enough? Reminded me of Coffin from Everyone Loves You Once You Leave Them. Ominous, foreboding, instrumental sort of intro track.
All I wanted was a kiss. Just one.
Curse of death! Curse of death!
Aggressive. Getting these slow breakdowns. okay. Not really sure how to feel about that one. It was quite heavy, but I don't think there was honestly too much substance to it. That was a pretty interesting breakdown and some nice riffs with the bending, but for how kind of short it was. Now this does make me wonder, especially after hearing Bleed, which was one of the singles earlier, which I'll still listen to again, and we'll get to that. But after hearing that and this being, the second song on the album right after the intro, it's going to be one of their, bigger releases in this album cycle. How much are they going to not rely on clean singing choruses and whatnot, having their new singer? Because right out of the gate, we're getting a song that doesn't have a clean singing chorus. It's a meh on Kickboxer for me so far. But I might return to it and see if my opinion changes. Next up is one of the singles, House of Cards, which I have listened to already, and that was one of the ones that I actually liked. It's a serviceable song, but let me remind myself of it. This chorus, I think, would go hard live. It's a really sing-along, classic Amity lyricism. Call and response with the hey. Live. It's a live hit. Yep. Yeah, that's that's a really good song to play live. And I think that just kind of makes me miss Arn a little bit more, because it has a really, it has a classic Amity song structure, and especially the lyricism. Like, I can just hear Arn singing that all that glitters isn't gold. I can just hear that in his voice. That seems like, that would still hit pretty hard if he was singing that. So yeah, I think that was still a pretty great song, even with Jonathan Reeves singing. Heaven Sent is next, which I listened to, and I wasn't particularly moved by it. It's very, very standard and basic, and I don't think there was too many mind-blowing creative elements in there. But we will give it justice. We will give it justice as deserved. I'm starting to like it a little bit more. I'm like, and this is my third listen of it. There are some elements of the chorus that I'm appreciating a little bit more now. Okay, I'm liking the song a little bit more. I think I had too much of judgment, too much harsh judgment the first time I listened to this. And it is a good song. Like in a vacuum, this is a really good song. And it's reminding me a lot of Wage War and Cody Kistad's clean singing, which I am a fan of. I'm a really big fan of when Wage War did songs that basically sound exactly like this. Besides the heavy part, the heavy portions are pretty different, especially with the new sound that Amity is going in, which I'll also touch on that. But this is just very reminiscent of the melodies that Wage War uses. And like, it got me wondering, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't actually mind listening to this if it was Wage War. Like, this would probably be one of my, in my rotation Wage War songs. So that's a positive. And what I noticed about the heavy parts of this song is that it also kind of seems like an evolved version of All That I Remember, which came out in 2024 or 2025. 2025, right? Hasn't been 2 years since they dropped. 2024 was the Redux. 2025. Okay, I think it was in 2025 that All That I Remember dropped. Yeah, because the Redux came out in September of 24. So it was 25. Anyway. They have that kind of like almost symphonic approaching kind of sound interlaced with the heavy riffs, which were very much present on All That I Remember. So this kind of seems like another like kind of avenue that those musical ideas have gone down. But I'm enjoying this a little bit more on my first listens now. And that running piano is also a classic Amity. I don't think that's ever going to go anywhere, no matter who's in the band. You got Emperor Palpatine on the ASMR. Also, about the breakdowns, I think, and already hearing like All That I Remember, and this, and then Bleed, which is coming up after this, I think Amity Affliction has already like exhausted this style of breakdown, where it's super tight, just, you know, machine gun blast beats, bursting blast beats like that. I think that's already kind of exhausted at this point. It doesn't seem really creative of them, honestly. And it is something different that they're doing with their heavy elements. But that just kind of is just another thing that makes them blend in more. Makes them kind of sound more generic than they're already becoming. Like even the breakdown on a major hit recently, like the breakdown on It's Hell Down Here is better than this. It's not just the bursting blast beats with no kind of like ambient noises to supplement it, or, you know, a kind of like cadence that builds up to it. It's just, we have some silence, and then we have the call out, and then it's just, and Show Me Your God too. That's another thing where, like, you know, you have the call out and there's actual substance when it comes to the breakdown. This style just kind of seems like it's there for no reason. So yeah, even on the album like Not Without My Ghost, the breakdowns were still way better and way more creatively synthesized with the rest of the song and the rest of the album. And you could argue that, you know, that Amity's typical breakdown style is overdone and, you know, lost its freshness, which, you know, I would agree they have a very typical sound when it comes to their breakdowns. So I can understand that, and I would agree. I think that you know, that they had the opportunity to do something different, but this is not good different. This is different for them, but the same as everybody else, where, you know, metalcore's been doing this forever. And there are universes where that can sound good, but I don't think they've been doing it well so far.
I hear you say you're heaven sent, heaven sent, heaven sent, heaven sent, heaven sent, heaven sent, before the rain, say to me, heaven sent, heaven sent, heaven sent, heaven sent.
More really classic Amity there. I've gotten more enjoyment out of that. Okay, Bleed. I heard this when it came out, and I do like it. There's a lot of discourse about this song, and I can get into that as we hear it. But I actually like it. Another one of those where it sounds evolved from All That I Remember, like there's shades of that here again that just got elevated, I think. Okay, before we get into that, I like the flow of the riff. It's really adding to the heaviness a lot. That's something I'm not really moved when it comes to All That I Remember, in that, it's a fast and heavy riff, but I think I prefer this a little bit more, this kind of flow a little bit more, where it's just, it's almost kind of like sluggish, where it's just really pounding in every portion, and it really matches, like it's the perfect flow for this song, especially when we're going to get into the break here. I actually like that. I am serious. People were freaking out about it, being like, oh, it's AI. No. First of all, it's not AI. It's a digital voice. And that's been a digital voice for I don't even know how long. That is an old voice. That's like old Siri. So that's not AI. It's not an AI generated voice. And if it was, it would be a lot more blatant, and that would piss me off, but it's not. And I think they did a good job of matching the cadence of the song to that digital voice. I think it sounds pretty good. It's an interesting thing to listen to. It kind of adds a kind of like haunting, robotic digital aspect to the song. I think it's reinforcing the theme of, how it's unapologetic, and it's unapologetic in the sense that this robotic digital voice is just repeating it over and over again. Like it has nothing better to do, which it doesn't. Like you are bleeding the way you bleed with no qualms or shame, so much so that you are programmed to just reinforce it and repeat it. That's how unashamed you are of whatever part of yourself that you're talking about, is that you will just say it over and over and over again. Like, you will never shift your position on yourself, or, you know, falter or give way to someone resisting what you are. It's not a bad chorus either. It's really anthemic too. This would go hard live also. Continue. I don't like how this chorus exits though, that riff. This part's cool. I like those notes.
I'm just like anybody else. And just like you, I hate myself.
Building dissipation.
Get no compassion from king. I am the
Those little things, I don't know what they are.
I play the way I play.
I bleed the way I bleed.
Okay. I'm going to be honest, that breakdown is not it. That it's not it in I like half of it. I think that's the example of it just kind of being out of place for how heavy it is. Because now, what are we doing at this point? You are just spam drag clicking the kick in your DAW. And you know, it's doesn't have much weight to it, really. Like, we've heard this before, not just from you, not just from metalcore, but from metal in general for like the better part of a decade, and like a decade and a half. So we know what this sounds like. We know what it's used for, and I don't think it's used in the right context for this at all. Because it's interrupting the very special and interesting flow of this song, in my opinion. I think we're like 4 to 5 years too late on doing just, you know, I mean, like breakdown slop. It's really what it is. Because we saw this happen with Lorna Shore. When they released To the Hellfire, that was absolutely the most influential moment for basically metal to follow that. And, you know, I don't, like, people remember, we all remember this stretch between 2021 and like 2023 where deathcore just became just that. It was only that. It was everybody just trying to out breakdown each other, everybody trying to out vocal each other, and I don't think Joel is even doing his vocals justice on this, because you can tell that it's layered in such a way to also get that same effect. And again, I'm not saying that, you know, having effects and layers on your harsh vocals is bad. I understand how the production of metal works. And what I'm saying is that Joel has, I think, improved his vocals as he's gotten older, and I think he's better than this. You know, he's not doing himself justice by trying to get this effect out of an Amity Affliction song, or at least one like this. And I don't think anyone's impressed by these kind of breakdowns anymore. I think we're kind of tired of it, because we know what goes into it. We know what the deal is when it comes to that. So it's something we don't need anymore. I think we're good off of the competitive sport that was the Lorna Shore, you know, trying to, you know, the Goblin off, trying to out, you know, everybody has to come out with the newest, best, and heaviest, and most disgusting breakdown. It's like reaction video core. That's what this is. It's just trying to get the Nick Nocturnal thumbnail, and it's not creative. It's boring, in my opinion. This isn't going to go hard live. That being said, though, I like how it transitions out of the breakdown where it cuts to silence. Let me hear it again, actually.
I bleed the way I bleed.
Yeah, I like how how Siri comes back in to do that again. I think that would hit a lot harder if it wasn't such a stupid breakdown right before it. And also the 808 thing, like, again, I know how 808s supplement breakdowns. I know that gives a lot of body to a huge drop like that, and I'm in favor of that. But again, it's just, I think it's a little out of place. I'm just not. Love that, though. That synth. That's just present through the whole song. Really, like, grounding the cadence and the groove. Break These Chains is next.
We'll find the time, not tonight. Close your eyes, say goodbye. I'm sifting through parts of you, shattered by all your lies. I cannot stay, run away. I'm so tired of all the shame. I've gotta grow, let it go, feel the pain.
I'll break these chains. I'll break them. I'll break
is sounding unique already.
We'll find the time, not tonight. Close your eyes, say goodbye. I'm sifting through parts of you, shattered by all your lies. I cannot stay, run away. I'm so tired of all the shame. I gotta grow, let it go, feel the pain. I'll break these chains. I'll break them.
I'm getting some different influences among the current metalcore scene now, which I like. This is a really unique and different song. It's kind of reminding me of the broader influences that went into like some of the songs on Misery and definitely Everyone Loves You Once You Leave Them. More pop oriented when it comes to the choruses and whatnot. But again, it doesn't really, like, it doesn't sound like a typical Amity song, which is not a bad thing. I want it to not sound like typical Amity. I want them to do something different and good.
We'll find the time, not tonight. Close your eyes, say goodbye. I'm sifting through parts of you, shattered by all your lies. I cannot stay, run away. I'm so tired of all the shame. I gotta grow, let it go, feel the pain. I'll break these chains.
And no one's left alive. I'll hang it till forever comes. This I will never try. Never try. This I will never try. Listen is love, not enough. Listen is love, not enough. Listen is love, not enough. Not enough.
You'll find the time, not tonight. Close your eyes, say goodbye.
That was already the best breakdown that I've heard on the album, because that was more creatively intertwined with the theme of the song musically. We didn't just have, the blast beats with no kind of other melody supplementing it, and it was a typical Amity breakdown that fit into the song properly. There wasn't anything crazy different that happened, but it wasn't just also a boring shoveled in burst of blast beats. It followed with the flow of the song very well.
I'm sifting through parts of you.
And I like this chorus.
All your lies. I cannot stay, run away. I'm so tired of all the shame. I gotta
This is a little bit out there in terms of choruses, I think, for them.
I'll break these chains.
It's yeah, that was kind of out there a little bit, not the kind of choruses that they're really known for. But I like that, you know. Okay, after that is Beso de la Muerte, which means kiss of death. And what we're gonna do is add that. Amity Affliction is never beating the allegations of only writing about death. And just because the name of the song is in Spanish does not mean it doesn't go into the list. I like the atmosphere it's making right now. Oh. Wow. Melancholy. Okay. See no place to speak. Okay, hold on a second. I know it's a transition, but I gotta know what he's saying. We can run the transition back. I need to know what I see how it is. It sounds like he's saying no place to speak, but I don't really know what that's supposed to mean. I'll have to just think about that some more. Let's just get listening to this transition again. Love that piano and the atmosphere that it was setting, and then the drums come in and everything. Okay, I like the opening of that. That really, kind of kicks up the energy really well after that. After that mostly instrumental and atmospheric track before, which Amity Affliction doesn't really do basically at all. I mean, like in the middle of an album to kind of have an atmospheric setup into a transition like that.
Then you'll say back, I don't wanna fucking hear.
to is all I'm doing.
There is a limit, now I know. I have to try to let it go. I learned that I was all alone. I was a stranger in a stranger's home. Don't tell me that love will save me from now, 'cause I found the truth in the wishing.
I'm not too big on this chorus. It seems kind of simple again. The breakdown's sounding kind of okay. I mean, yeah, the lyrical content here is basically just in line with the rest of the album, where it's Joel's mother, and obviously bad relationships there. I thought it was gonna get a little bit more of a... What is that song? I don't know why the opening riff for this song kind of it reminded me of I think it's Hail to the King by Avenged Sevenfold. I don't know why it's reminding me of that, but that's just where my mind was when I started listening to it. So I guess I thought I was going to get more of that kind of energy or just vibe from this. Alright, I think I just didn't like that song, honestly. I couldn't really get behind the chorus, and I know it also has a call and response there, but it just doesn't seem to hit that hard when it's talking about a well. I don't know. I mean, Show Me Your God also was talking about, a well and being thrown down it. But I just didn't get the same thing with this. I didn't think the breakdown was very interesting either. The chorus had a boring melody, honestly, and then at the end, where it was just really like, the repeating of the same lyrics, it was a very do-nothing song for me. And next up is Speaking in Tongues. Like the melody?
Just
hold on a second. My first impressions of the main, like that first main riff, is that like, okay, it's just kind of another one where it's, you know, sporadic blast beats. But I think I like this one a little bit more than the other ones that did that. I think this is already probably going to be one of the more lyrically intense ones with the theme of the album. Like, I'm better off without you here. Holy shit. And this is what Amity does though. Like, this is how they dial in on their abilities, is putting it all out there with very little with like balancing the subtlety with, this is absolutely the message that I'm going for and this is what I want to put out there, and they're going to put it out there in the rawest form they can. And what's more raw than just saying like, your dying mother, I don't even, like, I'm better off without you alive. Okay, let's hear that chorus again. Listen. Okay. Right. This is what they do well. Yeah, this is it. This is Amity, straight up. They're still very capable of delivering in that way, even with Jonathan singing. That is basically what they have been doing their best work at for the past like 10 to 14 years, right? That's the formula, and I think this is a pretty good way of also incorporating their new direction, where their riffs and everything are not in the classic style that they've been doing, and they're not also breaking the mold in any way. They're just kind of doing the average serviceable modern metal riffs, but I think they're incorporating it well with what they know how to do well, which is exactly this. They're just laying it out lyrically. They have a good chorus melody, and it's something you actually want to sing along to, and the singing itself is very passionate, and the effort is dialed in. I can do without the repeat though. God. Okay, this... I got some chills there.
To be loved.
god, that was, I think, the best song that I've heard so far today. Yeah, that is proof that they actually, they absolutely still got it, and that gives me hope immensely for the ability of Jonathan Reeves to fit the role that he has been put into, which were damn big shoes. That last, the third chorus, the refrain right that went into the third chorus was very impressive, and something I have not heard from Aaron in a long time. I got through 9 of 12 songs before saying Aaron's name. I think that's pretty impressive. But we were all thinking it eventually. Like, you can't... It's like... it's like critical race theory, but for this, you can't, just look at Amity Affliction in a vacuum anymore. You have to take in the entire compounding context. It's critical Aaron theory. Yeah, I think that was my favorite song that I've heard so far. I love that a lot. It's just everything that Amity does right and well, and has been doing right and well. And that being said, they are still making their efforts to continue down the path that they've clearly been trying to continue down, which, I'm not going crazy over. There's musically, there's elements that, I think could be done more creatively and more innovative. This is just a well-executed song, and you can tell. Alright, after that is Afterlife. Everything is Hail to the King for me today. I don't know why. And this song, Afterlife, is a song by Avenged Sevenfold too. I don't even like Avenged Sevenfold like that. All right. Classic. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of that chorus. It could grow on me, but I like the lyrics here. They're pretty good, deep and well written. The lyrics kind of remind me of the song "Forever" from "Everyone Loves You Once You Leave Them," where it's also under that theme of kind of rejecting the notions that are common with death. I mean, it's laying out what Joel's been saying about that, which is he's not concerned with where you're going after you die, or what it is that happens in the afterlife. Let me see the lyrics specifically. I don't believe it's where you go or where you'll be. Yeah. Die alone because you're out of time. You'll never know if as above is so below. So yeah. Where do you believe we go? Yeah. That reminds me of Forever, where the opening lyrics of that are along the lines of not being concerned with even what it feels like to die itself, but way more focused on still the physical material world and the physical and material you, and the means in which you die are much more valuable than whatever Joel thinks will or will not happen after, or where you will or will not go. So yeah, really well written stuff. Also rejecting like commonplace religious notions as well. Jeez. Unbridled too. Yeah, this cadence is not for me. I can see why I could potentially like it and why people potentially like it.
You said it's better up there in heaven, but I won't ever scream into the sky. It's never been what I believe.
I refuse to say you with the death.
Okay, the spoken portion of that also, that's another kind of Amity staple in their like later half of their catalog, so that's nice to hear. And yeah, really just reinforcing kind of what I was talking about earlier of just Joel's mindset when it comes to death and how it's almost like just completely removed and completely rejecting any kind of spiritual, religious, or even just culturally religious notion that there's an afterlife. And it almost sounds like, in my interpretation, the end of that where it's like, I refuse to meet you in the afterlife. It's almost like what he's saying is that he believes it is just so, he is so rejecting of that like he won't even let himself, like he doesn't even, like the way that he's saying I refuse is like him making a conscious choice to not only, you know, reject what he's rejecting, but like he even has control over what happens after he dies. Like he does not want to be in any kind of association with his mother so much that even after they're both dead, he will promise to make the conscious decision after death that he's not even going to go there. He refuses to meet her in the afterlife. So, and what was that soft-spoken part? Said it's better up in heaven, but I won't ever scream into the sky. It's never been what I believe. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's that is just exactly that's it. Yeah. So just rejecting the commonplace notions, particularly religious, that are just saying, oh, heaven's so much better then Earth is just saying no. I wonder if it could also just be calling out the idea that it can be so absurd to them. Joel is only seeing it as screaming into the sky and nothing more. So like from his perspective, that's all it is to him. So even, you know, how many people are saying that heaven is so much better, he's not going to do something so absurd as to scream into the sky, especially when it comes to the fact that he's saying he's refusing to meet his mother in the afterlife in the end. The next song is Reap What You Sow. Okay, this is odd. Okay, hold up. This is not even like misery level of different. I think this is even more than that. I think this fully clears also Everyone Loves You Once You Leave Them. This is, I guess this was the brand new that I was asking for. Like, we've never heard an intro like this on either of those two albums. Feels Like I'm Dying was like throwing people off for being what it was. If this is going to be, you know, the rest of the song, I think that's a full clearance of what songs off of Misery and Everyone Loves You we're going for. Okay, holy shit, that's heavy. Hold on a second. Okay, that was way heavier than I was expecting it to go. That was like kind of creeping into like gentcore territory. I don't know if that was exactly the guitar that was making that first initial sound of the riffs, but it was going bow bow. I don't know if that was the guitar, and that would be like a staple of gent adjacent music. Either way, that was it was effective nonetheless. This is more enjoyable heaviness in the new direction for me. I'm not a fan of the spammy percussion. Again, I think, and I'm not even one of those people that are like, oh, if you can't play it live, then don't record it. I'm not like that at all. If you can make whatever music sound good based using whatever kind of computer tools outside of AI, any kind of computer tools, digital production, whatever you want, any kind of sampling, like do all of it, and if that's going to elevate your music. But I think that actually did a little bit too much when it came to the percussion of that, honestly. It's not the worst sounding. I think most of it knew its place. There were just a couple of sections where I thought it was a little excessive. But again, it's also it is matching the intensity of the song a little bit. I'll give it more of a listen. what this is? This, okay, I'm getting so butt rock right now. This reminds me of when Nickelback dropped San Quentin, and I think like the first part we heard of it was the opening riff, and it was the most genty, like, we thought Nickelback were actually going heavy. Like, that was going to be earth-shattering switch if Nickelback went gent. But then it turned out to be just a regular Nickelback butt rock, you know. So I feel like this is like if that riff was given justice what it was, and it wasn't just for the basically clickbait. I think Nickelback knew what they were doing by like, oh, we're just gonna put this, we're gonna just bring out an 8-string guitar to play like one note and then make the rest of our serviceable radio rock for 50-year-old divorced men. So this feels like that riff was given justice almost. That's what it sounds like. This percussion is fine right now. I think some of the fills in there, when it's just racing over the toms and everything, I think that's where I'm starting to think it's a little excessive. And it has nothing to do with whether it's actually, done in production. It most likely is, but my issue isn't that it doesn't sound human, or it doesn't sound like they could do it live. I don't care if they produce that entirely digitally and they're just going to play it live or not. Like, I don't care about that. That's just, it's literally a personal preference to me, that I think it's just excessive in the production, period. I don't care how the production is made to come into my headphones. What's coming into my headphones is not to my taste. That's my issue. That was weird. Kind of cool. I can get behind this chorus. It's not my favorite, but it's not trash. It's a good drop. Okay, that was a breakdown that was done well with blast beats in a kind of sporadic-ish style. And that's because there was actual creative elements to it where, they had a dissonant, kind of chug that broke it up a little bit. I think it gave us something to actually anticipate while the breakdown was happening, where it wasn't just like, oh, the breakdown is happening. We actually had something in the breakdown that added to it. And I think that's, what makes a better sounding breakdown. Eternal War is the closing track. Let us listen to it and close this album out. It sounds evil.
There is no God. Satan killed him.
Whoa. Okay. What I liked about this, the main riff here, is that yes, it's more of the thing that I've been complaining about this whole time, but again, the thing that I'm okay with is having just like one portion of the riff that just breaks it up a little bit. There's a part that the rhythm of the chugging is different, and it adds some variety to the heaviness. Let me right there. Not only is that just like one of my favorite things to hear when it comes to a main riff, is to just have just the idea of it, the idea to make the riff more dynamic by having the rhythm a little offset and give us a different sounding end to the loop before it comes back again. Now where was God and Satan and Jesus and Mary and Joseph?
There is no God. Satan killed him.
Yes, yes, yes. More of that. We are doing good right now with bringing in more sounds and something that breaks up the monotony of the heaviness. So once again, they brought that chugging back to make the main riff more dynamic, and they also added, the left and right of Joel's vocals. Those are things that I appreciate when they're going in this direction of kind of otherwise forgettable riffs and rhythms. I want them to make them more interesting by doing stuff like this, and that's what they're doing extremely well so far right now. Especially for a song where there's no clean chorus, this is the best thing that they can do, is to make the heaviness more dynamic, more variety, and more interesting. It's a high scream. Is that Joel? No way. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, there is no way that's Joel. That sounded like... That sounded like, some of the features that were on Not Without My Ghost. I mean, there was I forgot what band that was. I'm drawing a blank right now. But those are some freshly sounding screams. Those are pretty freaking high for Joel. I mean, that even sounds like going into hardcore territory. Or at least, you know, that hardcore vocal kind of inspired metalcore. Really impressive vocal work from Joel at this stage, if that's him, but it doesn't even really sound like Am. Is there featured vocalists on this? I feel like they would have made this a single or did some more promotional work if there was a featured vocalist again, because they don't even do that a lot to begin with. And it also would have said so. I don't think I think that's they don't have any kind of other vocalists. They didn't put featured anywhere. Shit. I'm very impressed with Joel, and then what we were just listening to going into the next part was also crazy sounding, but let's give that another listen. This is crazy. I did not know Joel was capable of something like this. Gotta give it to him. I forgot that this was even like the hook. Spooky and evil sounding again. Thanks. Are your legs getting tired yet? We're just gonna kick drum until Christmas. Okay. I really have to hand it to him. That was up there with one of the best songs on the album. What a way to close it out. My mic wasn't even on for that. As I was saying, that I'm very impressed with Joel's harsh vocals on that. I did not know that he was capable of reaching that anything. I didn't know that was something that was in his ability, because that is a pretty high range for screaming, and Joel is usually kind of a like mid-fry sort of, and he's gotten a little bit lower as the time has gone on, which is already, you know, it's impressive enough to still, you know, find new areas in such for so deep in your career. But then to get into that performance is very, very impressive. And that sounded pretty raw too. I liked how that song faded out. I think that was that was something a little bit, that was also a new thing that they kind of did. I don't remember really another song that kind of ended on a repeating motif to close it out like that and just fade out. And actually, again, I was complaining about it earlier, but that breakdown was still pretty good. It did have that breakdown did have what I was complaining about, which was the, blast beats forever. It sounded like we just weren't going to stop. And it was also, just like how low can we go? How fast can we go? But, okay. Yeah, what set that breakdown apart from the Lorna Slop was how they actually brought back the piano melody from the beginning and from the rest of the song. It wasn't a breakdown in a vacuum. They had the anticipation coming up to it with the no peace, only pain, or something, no peace, all pain, no peace, only pain. And then you have the piano back again. So that was my issue, was that, okay, they're kind of just doing the breakdown with no sounds to supplement it. This was different, and I appreciate that. And it also was a slightly different song structure, in that the breakdown just kind of became the end of the song, again, through that long fade out with the repeating line over and over again. So it wasn't a typical song structure either, and that's a positive point for that song. Overall, I have to say I'm very pleasantly surprised by this album. I honestly had quite low expectations for this thing, because I haven't really been going back to the singles since they came out. I've mostly been revisiting the same Amity songs that I've been revisiting over time. I will give them the credit that they absolutely deserve for some of these songs. This is absolutely not one of their best albums by any means, and I don't think anybody is going to be saying that. Literally, I think 0 people would ever consider this to be up there with their best work. But if we're considering what has happened, the fact that they had to part ways with their most important piece of the band, and then do their best to make it work with a new singer while trying to go in a new creative direction in a lot of ways, they delivered more so than they did not. It was decent enough. I mean, it was pretty good, basically. I had expectations greatly overachieved. I don't really know how else to express my opinions, because I haven't talked about any kind of like rating or ranking. Maybe that's something I can do, is explain how I rank Amity's albums, or how I would rate them all, because that'd be just kind of random to come out of nowhere with a rating with no context of what I think of the other albums. So maybe that's something I can do. Let me know if that's something I should do, and let me know what you thought of House of Cards by the Amity Affliction.